Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's very special episode because this is the holiday special episode of writing extensions with Mads. That's me, and as always, we have the talented producer James behind the scenes. Hello, James. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Mads?
Not too shabby. Not too
Yeah,
shabby.
you're looking good. I'm pretty impressed. I like the sweater. I like the antlers. Pretty good. I just got Santa Mooch over here, who comes out every year around this time. I wish that we were in my living room because we put up a beautiful tree. We went from a 2-foot tree, which is very small, to a six
Mhm.
foot tree this year. So we're very excited about that and decorated it up. I got a Mandalorian Baby Yoda ornament for the tree. That's
Is it
exciting.
at the very top?
No, we have a sloth angel that we got off of Etsy. It's a sloth that's an angel, so it's sloth angel.
Okay, we
So
need pictures of that, James.
I'll go get it.
You owe us pictures. I think we have to hashtag James. Show us your sloth.
I will. I'll go get it. So we have it at the end. It'll be a
Okay.
dramatic conclusion. This is
Yes.
the last one, though. This is the last show of the year. I can't believe it.
It is. It's our Christmas, holiday, Hanukkah, New Year's special. I guess you
All,
could say.
all,
I don't know.
all the things.
Yeah. These antlers here, they're my 5-year-old sons. You see, they're kind of small, so they don't really fit me all that well.
Oh, they're kind of like just, hey, this is going to basically squeeze your head to inappropriate, like inappropriately.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think we have some really good stuff coming out today because I was debating what to do for for this episode because we could really go anywhere when it comes to holiday theme, right? And so what I did was, James, you don't know this, but I tweeted out and I asked people what would make a good holiday related extension. And I got a bunch of replies back. And they were like a couple of categories kind of emerged. One was sound. Do like jingle bells or like ho 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 or something like that on keystrokes or when the build fails or something. Now, so that was sort of one category. The other category was uh, make it snow on the screen. The editor should have some sort of decorative or maybe even animation of snow or whatnot, Christmas trees, something like that. But the problem with that one is that that's actually the one that Matt Lacey did called Festive Editor. Can you switch to my screen for a moment? I guess I could do that myself. So you should go check out this extension right here. It's called Festive Editor by Matt, and this is actually the one that inspired the whole idea. So this is the original. Thank you very much, Matt Lacey. If you search for Christmas on the Visual Studio Marketplace, you're gonna only get one extension, and that's this one. So this is the one that started it all, and you can see it puts in the sort of the what is this, holly? I think it's called, this green stuff. It does with like edits or adornments, and it's kind of meant as an example. So if you click in and you go to the GitHub for it, you can see how to do that in a really cool way. So thank you very much, Matt, for writing that extension. Okay, so that was sort of the problem with the one that had UI, is that was kind of already done. The issue I have with the one that was sound is that I already have an extension with sound, and I'm going to have to just, do you know this, James? Do you know the Farticus extension?
I've heard of it. I'm pretty sure that we were browsing your extensions one time, and this
And it
this
came
thing
up.
came up. Mm-hmm.
This is one of my earliest extensions. I wrote it with Sayed originally back in the day. So, but this is basically one that when your build fails, it plays a sound. So I thought, okay, that was kind of done. I could just fork this and change the sounds to be like holiday related sounds, right? Jingle bells and whatnot. So I thought maybe that wasn't the best idea either. So I came up with something else. And so, James, you and the audience for that matter, you might have experienced sort of a similar thing. It gets this time of year. There's a lot of cookies out there. People eat cookies. They sipping on their eggnog, next to their computer. And it's inevitable. It happens every time. It crumbles from the cookie, or maybe a little splash of the eggnog falls into your keyboard. And James, what happens when something falls into the keyboard? What happens?
Well, I mean, your key stick pretty not great, and then you got to I always do the shake, and
Uh-huh.
then you shake everything, and now it's just on your desk, and then you hope you get a mini vacuum. You're like, yeah.
Exactly. And you said the magic word there, stick, right? It gets sticky. So my idea was that what we'll do is that we'll simulate through an extension a sticky keyboard. It's very, very holiday festive. It's you could play a prank on people with this, without them looking. Install this on their Visual Studio, and they will get like a sticky keyboard. Um, that would be a great idea. And I don't know, James, if it's like that over here in the U.S., but I'm from Denmark, and elves, Santa's little helpers, elves. They like to be mischievous and tease humans. And so maybe that's what this is. This is the teasing elf extension. And I already created a GitHub repo for it. So head over to, it's on the screen. So if you go to github.com/Kristensen/sticky Christmas, then you can kind of follow along and see what's going on.
This is pretty exciting to me, Maz, because as a streamer, I've been planning my holiday streams, and we have a guest streamer on the Visual Studio Twitch account, InstaFluff, and he always makes overlays that you can do, web browser based ones. So he has an ASCII fireplace, an ASCII tree. I like the one that Matt Lacey made, because to me, I want it to be simple, right? I just want to be and put my Visual Studio in holiday mode, put it in Halloween mode. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So as a streamer, I could just be and I'm good. I don't have to worry about turning on and off tons of layers. So I'm pretty excited about this. And in fact, what's really cool about Twitch that I'll tell people about is you can have reward points for the channel. And what people could do is they could donate and say, oh, for 1,000 points that people get for watching, turn on sticky keyboard mode. So this kind of exciting to me. So I'm excited.
I like that. But before we head in and we start, I just received this book, and I want to just show it to you people. So this is a brand new book on writing extensions. And I can not recommend this highly enough. So it took a while to get out, but it was written earlier this year. And Rishab has made a bunch of extensions. And this is, if you've never written an extension before, you want a really good, sort of solid, deep introduction to various different aspects of extensibility, go check out this book. Okay. A little advertising here, I guess it is, but I think it's relevant enough to do that on this show. So yeah, just a little public service announcement, I guess. And thank you, Rishab, for sending this to me. All right. Oh, Matt, did you read it? Matt Lacey says that he'd recommend it too. It's a great intro. Yeah, I agree. The intro is fantastic, but so is the rest of the book. Okay. So on that repo that James is linking to right now, there is a Visual Studio solution. And so if we can just go to my screen here, then this is what it is. Basically what I did is I just created a new V6 project. I went in here and just did a new V6 project. And then I added an icon. Check this icon out here. It's kind of a Santa, but he's not super happy, right? Because his keyboard is sticky. And then what else did I do? I put in a README, but I didn't really fill it out. As you can see, it's kind of empty. And then hooked up the CI/CD. So this is kind of the stuff we do every time. But I kind of just prepared that in advance so that we don't have to spend time doing that. So here's what the extension does. It's a simulation of what happens when you spill cookies and eggnog into your keyboard while coding. Okay, so that's kind of cool, right? So I think what we need to do is figure out what exactly this thing is going to do. And sorry, I'm trying to open another file here while I'm not looking at what I'm doing. Here we go. So let's just take a look at the code. There's only one code file here, and it's the package class, which is completely empty because we don't really need it. So nothing to see yet. We haven't done any of the work has been done. This is pretty much just a standard file new project template. So we're going to add a new item template, or a new item from an item template. And if you have the Extensibility Essentials extension, James, can you run that link or that streamer or whatever for Extensibility Essentials? Go download that. That will give you a couple of extra templates. One of them is called Editor Command Handler right here. So we're going to grab that one, and we're going to call this, what are we going to call this? The project is called Sticky Christmas. So I think this is basically, we're going to intercept when people type, let's say the F key. F for F stands for, maybe it stands for freaking Christmas. Who knows? So F. So let's say it's so sticky key handler, sticky key handler, I'm going to call it. And right now it just gives us sort of a MEF export. Right? We can see that because we have the export attribute up here that this is MEF, Managed Extensibility Framework. And whenever we do something like that in an extension, we have to show that it is a MEF component in our v6 manifest file by going to Assets and adding a MEF component. Basically, we're just saying, hey, we register this particular extension as a MEF component, kind of. So that's all we have to do, and then we can close this down. If we don't do this, nothing bad will happen, but in fact, nothing at all will happen. This class will not run because Visual Studio does not know to include it into its MEF catalog. And so that's what we do by, in the v6 manifest, just registering it there. So, okay. So let's see here. What we want to do is that we want to get a specific command argument. And if we look at the editor, look here what it says here. It says replace editor command args with more specific command arg class. Okay, so more specific one. And specifically, we want the typing one. But let's just, for the fun of it, see what type of commands we can intercept and do something with that's already built into Visual Studio. So if we just search for command args, why does that not work? Type char. Okay, let's just do type char command arg. Okay, it's because I forgot. I didn't have that. So let's do it again. Command args. Check this out. Just see how many there are. We can intercept so many different ones, like word delete to end. Like that's all the keyboard shortcuts, like shift, delete, and whatnot. The up key, we can intercept that specifically, or show clipboard history. That's the Control Shift V, I believe. Undo, redo, rename, remove. I mean, it's just, it goes on and on and on. So we can be super specific in taking over behaviors of existing commands. And just, this is just such a great API that they did here. They did this API in 2016. No, hang on. Visual Studio 2017 update 6. So Visual Studio version 15.6. So you can use the same thing if you're targeting Visual Studio 2017 update 6 or later, okay? Otherwise, we have to intercept commands in sort of the old way, which is kind of nasty, sort of IOLA command target, very COM based stuff. This is much nicer. So when we select a different type here, type char, we have to update throughout. We're going to go down and update that one and that one, like this. Okay. So let me explain what I mean by sticky keyboard. You know, sometimes you hit a key, let's say the F key, and it kind of just sticks there. And so all of a sudden you have like so many Fs being printed onto the screen, like just running out, you know, until you kind of hit that key again to kind of loosen it up again, right? So that's the simulation we want to do. We want to like basically whenever someone hits an F key every once in a while, we pretend that it gets stuck. So now we can say, okay, we want to export this as an iCommand handler, give it our name. Then the content type is code. So the way content types work in Visual Studio is that they're all inheriting from each other. And so at the very bottom of the hierarchy, we have any. So that means any, no matter what document you open, this will work because it's the lowest common denominator. We have a split going from any and then to sort of the rest of the world, and one of them is code. So that's everything that's code, whether it's HTML, C#, C++, JavaScript, JSON, all that sort of stuff. And then we have another one called text. And so, hang on. No, that's not true. It's any. First, it's any. And on top of any, there's text. And on top of text, there's code. And then on top of code, for instance, you would have CSS or C# or, whatever. So if I say that it should be code, then I won't get text. So I want to make sure that if I open a TXT file, that it still works, right? I should still have a sticky keyboard. So I'm going to change this to text. Okay. And so far, so good. Now we basically just have to implement the class. So that's pretty good. So as I said, we don't want to run every time people click the F key, only sometimes. And so we need some logic that determines if we should run or not. Like if it's a time to run our sticky keyboard or not. So if should run, which doesn't exist, right? If we should run, do something. And so should run, we'll just generate that. Oh, not yet actually, because it needs to take some parameters. Type chars, like up here, command args, has some nice things on it. So subject buffer and text view, all command arguments got. But we also have a typed char. So that's the char itself, the character. So we can then test very simply. We could say down here, return typed char equals F. Like that. Okay. So if this should run, what do we want to do? We want to basically, I'm thinking what we want to do is that we want to call something asynchronously that can pump out a new F every 20 milliseconds, let's say. So we just get that sort of spamming of Fs in a row until someone clicks again, okay? Clicks the F key again. And when I say someone, it's probably the same person. So, so when this run, I want to say, okay, let's make key sticky. Someone is asking what extension we're making. We're making a prank extension that's good for the holiday season so that we can make a sticky keyboard. So make key sticky async. That's exactly what we want to do. Okay. So this one doesn't exist. Let's create it. Make key sticky async. And this should be an async task. And when we're dealing with tasks in Visual Studio, we have to do this. Using task equals system threading. Whoop. Tasks. Okay. So this is an async task. And in here, basically we want to loop. So while true or whatever, like, let's just do this. While true, we want to say task delay 20 milliseconds. Oh, I want to await that. 20 milliseconds. And then I want to write to the text buffer, right? To the view, to the text buffer. Okay, so I need to figure out in this method, I need to know when to stop printing my Fs, when I should break this while true loop, right? I need to figure that out. And I also need to get access to the text buffer. Okay. So maybe what we need to do, so the first thing we do, we can give this a we can give this maybe we just give them the command arcs. Here. Do this, the command arcs, because now we can write to and then because the argument's got the text buffer. So arcs text view dot text buffer dot insert, and so on. What is it that we want to insert? We want to insert, let's see here. It takes a position. What is the position? Well, that's where the caret is right at this moment. So the caret is, so we need to find the caret, and that's also hanging off of the text view. Caret, position, and we can't just use position because that's a caret position, not an integer. However, the buffer position right here works as an integer. And then we need to paste in that key. So that was F. So I could do like F like this. But I could also do, instead of hard coding that, I could just say arcs.typechar.string. Okay. So that's the typed character. In this case, it is F. Okay. So now I just need to be able to cancel this thing. And we already have something. And when I say cancel, I want to break the while loop if the F key is being hit again by the user here. So to do that, I'm going to just use a cancellation token because we kind of already have that concept. So I'm just going to go here to the top and say private cancellation, not cancellation token source. Let's say that's a source. Okay, so now we're here. So what I want to do is to create a new source. So new source, like that. And let's just give that a default timeout for 5 seconds. So we don't want to spam. So that means it's being automatically canceled in 5 seconds. So I don't want this to be like so annoying that it just keeps on going forever, right? If you don't hit the F key again. So just so there's a little bit of meaning to the madness, or a little bit of, we're maybe not as evil, we're just being mischievous, There's a big difference there. We just say, okay, don't do it for more than 5 seconds. Then we just cancel. I think that makes sense. So let's pass in our, what are we going to do? We're going to pass in our source.token. That's the cancellation token, and the arcs. So we need the cancellation token down here. That. So now we can say while not token is cancellation requested, right? No one has requested cancellation yet. So, okay, so this looks pretty good to me. So now we just need to call this. This is an async call, and we don't want to await that. We kind of just want to fire and forget, right? And so we can do file and forget, and we just give this name of, it needs a string, it needs like a name. So we just give it the name of whatever this class is, or v6.name. There we go. So v6.name is what? Sticky Christmas. That's fine. Okay, so that makes sense. But then we need to figure out, okay, so now it runs. Let's see here. Am I doing this right? Is this so far so good, I think, right? So James, are you highlighting a question here? I think I answered it earlier. We're doing the sticky Christmas. We were making the keyboard keys stick to when you're pushing them down. Okay. So when it runs, it does it when it shouldn't run. So if someone just hits the key again. Yeah, okay. So we need to have a variable that tells us if we're currently running or not. So I need to do like a private bool. Is stuck. Is this stuck or not? So here it's So is stock equals true. But when we run, we say that is stock is true. Let's just do it the other way around like that. And then in our should run method, we should say, okay, you have to hit F, but also is stuck should be false, right? You shouldn't start making something sticky if it's already sticky. So that way we can say, if you hit F again, then we go into this else clause right here. And in here, we can then cancel our cancellation token. So we can say source cancel like this. And actually, the source could be null, right, for all we know. So let's just do that. And when we're dealing with like cancellation token sources, we want to make sure that we dispose it. I forget the rules. This is pretty complex stuff, but it has to do if you use linked cancellation tokens or something like that. I don't really understand it, to be honest. I just know that they can create like out of memory exceptions in the end if you don't do it this way. And then we got to say is stuck equals false. Oops. Oh, and what is this complaining about? We're not returning anything. Yeah. So we want to return false. So when we return false from a command, command handler's execute command method right here, that just means we're not going to intercept and stop any other command handler registered for this command from executing in the future, right? After this one runs, we're just saying, okay, we're just going to pass it on to the next command handler by returning false. If I'd returned true, it would have the whole chain of commands would have stopped right there. So, but I don't want that. I want it so that if you type something else, yeah, you should be able to see those keys come into the text buffer. Oh, here's a good question from Amit. Can we edit downloaded from gallery extension? No, you cannot edit an extension that you download from the gallery or from the marketplace. But on the marketplace, there's a link out on the right-hand side to the GitHub repository where all the source code is for the extensions that provide that information that are open source. So that's the way to do it. Okay, so does this look right to you, James? This looks like it.
Everything that you write looks right. So
should I? Okay.
Funnily enough, I was thinking about my old MacBook that's stuck in quarantine on campus, and I actually had this issue on it. The E key would stick, and I actually had to bring it into the Genius bar, and they took it into the back and said, "Oh, we got this." And I'm pretty sure they just sprayed compressed air into it, but I thought the key was broken, but sure enough, it was like a tiny crumb. But so the question here is like, are you only doing the one key, the F key, or was it you're doing other random keys?
I'm just doing the F key. I could do random. I could do random.
Like every 5 minutes that random key changes, like every minute, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I know
or
what you mean.
whatever. That'd be kind of cool.
Let me go up here. I want to make sure.
Jonas doesn't believe me. It really was crumbs. It was the MacBook. It was the early Butterfly keyboard, like the first gen. So they were like so thin, MacBook, not MacBook Pro, not MacBook Air, but the MacBook. So it was very thin. So yes, it was that.
Okay, so let's just create any file here. I'm not even going to attach the debugger. I'm just going to say that it works. Okay, I'm just going to type something, and then I'm going to hit an F. Are you ready? F. La la. Okay, so now it runs. You can see the bar down here. Oh, now it stops because it, Okay. So there's a couple of things to notice here. So it ran for 5 seconds or whatever. Is that right? Look here, text buffer change. Look. So if I undo one at a time, oh my God, I hold down the Control Z right now to undo one letter at a time. That's not very nice. So we want to make sure that we can put all these in when I just undo once, it removes them all. I think back to being mischievous instead of evil, right? Let's just run again. F, boom. Here we go. And I hit F again and it stops. So that's kind of cool. And I can type other stuff. And when it runs, Okay. So that's kind of cool. But let's do the thing so it's not every time I hit an F, right? That would just be crazy. We wanna make sure that people, feel like they're being that it's real, and so it doesn't feel real if it's every time. So I think we need to have like maybe do it once a minute or every 5 minutes, like what James was saying. So let's just do let's keep track of that. So let's do a private date time. Call it last run, and let's just we just initialize that with a date time min value. Wow, I can't figure that out. Min. So by default, we've never run, right? Min value. So now what we can do, we can say should run. We should only run if it's been more than a minute since last run, right? So we go down here and we say, and last run, let's see if we, whoa. Last run has to be less than now at, should we do like 60 seconds, minus 60 seconds, right? So basically we're saying if last run is less than now minus 1 minute. So that means it's more than a minute ago. Is that what you're saying, James? This is like similar to what we were getting at.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, we could potentially just completely remove this type char. We don't care what the type char is, whether it's F or C or whatever. So if we just get rid, oh my god, wait, we could do that. We could do that. Would that be okay? Let's see if this. Should we see if this works first? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess like the question I have is, how often do we want it to come up, right? Because one of my thought was like, let's say I hit F within that window. Like, let's say you're like, okay, the target character is F, and that's going to be the target character for the next minute. So if you press it once, it goes into this mode, but then it changes to the next character that you could possibly hit. That's what I was thinking, right? It's almost like a game where you don't know what it's going to be, but if you do hit it, then it'll be a different character next time for like in the next minute. I don't know. I'm thinking too much probably.
No, I think that's a good idea. So basically we can, we could just remove this. And then you get exactly what it is. You don't know what the key is that's going to trigger it.
Will this guarantee that no matter what, though, every minute it will trigger?
Yes, if you're typing.
If you're typing.
Let's do a test. Let's move this down to 10 seconds just so we can test if it actually does that.
Question. So Matt says, why not do add minutes minus negative minus one? It's a good question.
That is a good question, Matt. For some reason, I always like to go down one time scale. So if I'm dealing with minutes, I like to do seconds. If I'm dealing with hours, I like to do. That's not true. I like to do it for seconds, I guess, because I don't know if I want to do this in seconds or in minutes.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is. I don't know, but I usually default to sort of the lowest. In this case, seconds. Okay, so now the first key I will hit, whatever I'm going to hit the P key here, and it should just continue. If I P again, it stops. Oh, now it just keeps going. So because 10 seconds. Okay, so 10 seconds passed. And so enter does not trigger anything because enter is not a typed character. Backspace neither. What about like a semicolon? Yeah, semicolon is. I guess that makes sense, right? And that'll work. What if you do something that's hard to write, like a plus? Yeah, where you have to hold down a moderate, like a shift key or whatever. So this doesn't work. It just runs all the time. It doesn't stop. Do I forget to set the last run? That's why. So when we run, where is it here? last run equals date time now. That's why. Okay. This is even better. So now it's like could be any key. James, you've improved on my idea. Thank you. Okay, so this is getting to become very high quality, right? You can already see here, like who wouldn't want to install this? But we already mentioned there was something we needed to do, which was to make sure that when we undo the entire thing, not just like one character at a time. Okay, so 10 seconds. I'll move it back to 60 seconds here. So to control that, we have to go into the undo buffer. Okay, so let's go into the undo buffer. For that, let's do the DTE. So let's get that, and we're just going to call the async service provider dot global provider dot get service async, and we want the DTE. And that's kind of nice, right? So now that we have the DTE, I can say DTE dot undo buffer. Oh, I need to use DT2. That means I need to import a namespace, the DT2, which is just a newer version of the DT. So now I can say, what's going on? DT dot undo. What is this? Oh, I need to await this. So I don't actually need the DT2. I just need the DT. So now I can say undo context. I'm going to open a new undo context, and I'm going to give this a name. So what kind of name should we give it? We could give it, why not just the VSIC name? Sticky Christmas. So what that means is that when you see the text, instead of it says text buffer change or whatever, you will see that it says Sticky Christmas. And then when we're done, we're going to close the undo context. Just like that. It would have been nice if the API was like, I could wrap a using around this, so that it would automatically close itself and whatnot. But this is complaining because it wants us to be on the UI thread. And that's okay. And so we're just going to bubble up to the UI thread here, because our task await here is automatically going to move us away from that for the waiting. So it's fine that we go to the UI context for this. So let's just do, we're going to wait the thread helper, joinable task factory dot switch to main thread async. Okay. So far, so good. So, so what happens here is that we get the DTE, we're opening the context, we're modifying our text buffer, inserting our characters, right? One at a time, 20 millisecond delay. And then we're closing it again. If it was not closed, then we would get some errors from other people trying to insert or trying to open a new undo context while ours is still open. And that could only happen in this case, probably realistically at least, if we have, if an exception happens. So we want to make sure that we wrap this Control KS for surround with, Control KS, and we want to say try F, because F being finally. So we want to come in here and make sure that no matter what happens, we close the undo context. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, this is going to be pretty awesome. Will this work? I feel like it will work. I have no reason to believe it wouldn't work. Okay, I'm gonna hit T. It's gonna go, and it stops. Right, I hit T again. I'm gonna undo, but let's take a look up here. I'm gonna zoom in here. So let's zoom in. So now it just says Sticky Christmas in the undo buffer, And if I undo, it should remove them all. Boom. Including, in this case, there were some other characters that were in there, right? The F, I hit the F key and it got in between. It removes that too because it got injected after I opened the buffer, but before I closed it, the undo buffer, the undo context, right? So, and that's likely, it's a kind of a side effect of doing it, I guess, but it's kind of probably what we want. No one would want to have like individual letters spread across this stuff. So you might be thinking, 20 milliseconds? Let's do that again. Oh, we have to wait. This is not us, by the way. We're not doing this. Yeah. It is some sort of Frankenbuild. Though this looks very much like us. The cancellation token source has been disposed. Ah, yeah. So that was us. Okay. I guess that's fair. See, it runs. See how fast it runs? You might be thinking, okay, that's not 20 milliseconds fast, right? Can I check for if this is disposed? Is disposed. Is disposed? What? Oh, I guess I could just do this. So I can say if not source, so is cancellation requested. Like that. Or I forgot. Here we go. That way. Okay. Now we only cancel the cancellation, the source, and we dispose of it if it hasn't already been canceled. So we only do it once. It's because I called this more than one time. Okay. Okay, what was I saying? Something about 20 milliseconds. So this is 20 milliseconds, but James, you know that 20 milliseconds is like much faster than what we saw on the screen, right? 20 milliseconds, what is that? That means I can do, there's 50 Fs per second or 50 characters per second that would be inserted. And I don't think that was the case. So what happens is that we do a delay for 20 seconds, but then we're going to do a UI bound operation. So that means by doing this, we kind of go to a background thread, and then we come back, and then we have to get into the main thread, the UI thread, to do this insertion. And that just takes a little bit of time. So you take that little bit of time and add to those 20 milliseconds, and you get sort of that little bit of a slowness, but that's fine, right? And so even if we make this like 1, it probably wouldn't speed things up because the thing that takes time is that dance and context switching and marshalling from one thread to the next and so on. Morten Nielsen says that dispose will cancel. You know, I was looking that up the other day because, but I couldn't find any information on this. So thank you. You just saved me a whole line. Well, hang on. Are we making an 83 line extension? Is that all? Is that it? That's pretty phenomenal, people. That shows you the power of these new APIs whenever we get to do the new APIs, right? Like this. Yep. That's awesome. So I think we're done. I should commit this. Added logic. Everyone write as good of some commit messages as I do. Usually I would just write like updates. That would be my commit message.
You missed out an opportunity. Added holiday cheer.
Oh. Yeah, holiday cheer. I'm gonna have to do that. I should do that, and I should also put holiday cheer in here. So I'm gonna hit the Windows key and semicolon, and that gives me the Windows emoji. So holiday. Oh. Supposed to. Here we go. What's a holiday cheer? Like a snowflake. Hey, that looks cool. See, Visual Studio is fully capable of Unicode. But do you want to save with another encoding? Yes. Always Visual Studio. Thank you very much. And the build is pending. The build is done. Here's the Open V6 Gallery. We now have it available. So go to openv6gallery.com and try it out. And in a moment here, we'll see a snowflake show up. No, I didn't commit that. Okay. So snow. Let's just do that here. Boom. Does that work?
It does work.
Nice.
Right. Here's one question for you.
Uh-huh.
So if I enable this extension, right, it's going to be on no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel as though we need like a, toolbar. Is there a toolbar on and off? Like, can you use emoji in a toolbar for the icon?
No.
Oh,
You can only use
icons,
bitmaps or the icons that, or image monikers rather.
because probably they're not accessible to some extent. But
Well,
I feel
they're
like
just they're just not built for that, right? Visual Studio, like emojis didn't exist when the menu system of Visual Studio was invented back in 1864.
Get on that, Visual Studio.
Okay, I think that has come through now. Oh no, because
CI.
it is done. No, it's not CI, actually. The way the V6 Gallery works is that in order to display the markdown right here, it actually makes a separate web request to download the markdown, but it caches it for 10 minutes I think 10 minutes.
There it is.
No.
Oh, but the new version's available, but it caches the other one. That's smart. I mean, that's what it should do.
It's genius. I'd say.
Whoever built it, genius.
So if we were to do a setting, we totally could. But do we have time for that?
Always got time.
Okay. I mean, I can do it quickly. So let's call this settings. And then I'm just going to use the good old trick here where we're just going to go lift the code from somewhere. VSSDK samples, everybody. Just Google that. And that brings you right in here. And we go down, and it's options. Here we go. And, clone this, clone this down. I think I have done that. Or at least I'm using this very technique on other extensions. Let's see here if I can find it. Did I do that in my company? Nope. What did I do this on? The SAS compiler. No. I'm looking through my list here of things. V6 synchronizer. Did I download that into here? No. Pomodoro. I feel like we did something. No, we didn't do that in there either. Really? Options. There we go. So I'm just going to take these and move them into settings. Settings options. So this is Sticky Christmas. I'm just going to update the namespaces and all of these. This one I'm going to say view code. Sticky Christmas. Sticky Christmas and Sticky Christmas. And this one, enabled true or false. Okay, enable. Specify whether the keyboard should be sticky. Yeah. Okay, so now what do we have here? We have exactly that. So we have a base object model. This is a class that, as I said, if you go to the VS SDK samples and clone that repo down, you get exactly this. You get a class here that's your base object model. You get what you see here. These 4 files is what you get. You get a base model here where it basically reads and writes from like the shell settings manager kind of serialize, deserialize. So we don't have to do that ourselves. Then it gives us a basic option page, which is also a base class. So 2 base classes, the model and the page. Then it gives us an implementation, which is if I have more than one page, I would do like this. I would have a general page and I would have a, foo page, and it would be, instead of general options, it would be foo options. And general options is just where I keep my properties, my strings, my booleans, my enums, whatever, and I decorate them here so I can control what they look like. And then all I have to do, I'm just going to close all this down because I did change the general options. General options is the only thing I need to modify here. I changed this. It says enabled, and so I just need to register it on my package here. So let's just take a look at what we did. We need 2. We need provide profile here. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. Let's just look at this dialog page provider. And we put it under environment. So here's where we put it. Actually, sorry. We did something a little bit different in that particular extension. So what we want to do is we want to provide options. No, let's go provide dialog, options dialog page. Here we go. And that's a type of this thing. And then we need to specify where that wasn't it either. Provide options page. There we go. It needs a category name. So category name is up here. The top level thing in the tools options dialog. So we could just make one up, make our own, or we could put it under an existing one. I feel like this is such a small one. We may want to put that under environment keyboard, right? I already have another extension that does that. So this is an extension that logs things to like keyboard shortcuts to the status bar and whatnot. And I parented it under the keyboard menu here. So I think we should do the same. So we're going to say, put this under environment. And what's the page name? So put it under environment and keyboard. So here I've just used the backslash to go down the hierarchy. And we want to call this, with the name of the V6. V6 name. Category resource ID 0. Resource ID 0. Support automation true. 0? Yeah. And then we want to say, do you want to localize? We always provide localized category name equals false. This is the one that it's hard to remember, but you have to make sure you put that in here, because this one basically says that environment and keyboard right here are not localized. I'm not providing localized names of these. Instead, just go with whatever Visual Studio have localized already, what someone else did, because I'm piggybacking on someone else's parents right here, the parent nodes. So make sure that, because otherwise they don't get localized. So if you have a Spanish version of Visual Studio, for instance, we don't want them in English to say environment and keyboard. We want to have the Spanish words. So that's why we set that to false. And then underneath, we say provide profile. And by doing providing profile, we're allowing this to be a roaming setting. So that means that if you have more than one Visual Studio, if you enable this in one, it enables it in the other. Okay. This might not be the case that this is a desired thing for this particular extension. We don't want these settings to roam. But I think probably that's what you want. Yandran disagrees with putting things under the environment. It's always so hard to find what you're looking for. Each extension should have settings under its own name, in my opinion. Yeah, I can't really argue against that either, except that we have all these top level things. I don't know what's more noisy. I feel like it's less noisy to just put it under something else. But really, maybe what we should do is that we should have one called extensions. What if we had a top level one called extensions? And then we just all agreed, hey, let's just use that for the small little things. Let's do that. That's a great idea. So we're going to come up with that. That means I don't have to specify the localized category. Actually, I probably do, because what if someone does provide a localized one? I want to just use that. Extensions. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so now I have my settings. Let's take a look. Jan Duran says, no, you want your own, huh, Jan? You want your very own. That's fine. You can have your own. This is like, do whatever floats your boat in this case, right? So I'm just gonna keep this for now. So let's see if it worked. Tools, options. Extensions. Sticky Christmas. And we have enabled true or false. And you can see here the description is right too. James, it wasn't that easy. If you think about like what we did, the amount of UI that's coming in here and all that sort of stuff, and all we did was just copy from some samples and boom, that's it.
Magic.
Yeah, it feels good. So now all we have to do is that we have to look at whether or not it's enabled. So should run, we need to check. So if it's enabled, so we do settings, set options. It's general options, sorry. General options dot instance dot enabled. That means that this doesn't have to take a type jar. We can clean up a little bit. It doesn't have. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Yeah, Jan, you're making a good point. Discoverability outweighs extra entries. Yeah, that may be absolutely true. Maybe absolutely true. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to go to our options and let's disable our stickiness here. Disable. And so I'm going to type something. See, nothing bad happens. What is this complaining about now? Object reference. Oh, silly me. What I didn't do was I didn't do this. So that means I have to. If cancellation is true, then dispose, right? No, if it's false. I think that's what it is. Hey Jan, you can send a pull request if you want to, and then we'll fix it up. But just wait till we're done here, because otherwise there's going to be merge conflicts. Okay, so we already disabled it. So let's make a new file here. And this time I'm going to do a brand new letter. I'm going to do B. Yeah, it seems to be just fine. So let's go to Tools Options. Actually, I should be able to find them here. Is that right? No. Okay, well. Sticky Christmas. Yeah, that was false. Oh, what am I doing? I was supposed to make it true. So now I'm going to hit a new letter, K. Hitting K again doesn't stop it. Why does hitting it K again doesn't stop it? Hey, Morton. So hitting dispose on a cancellation token doesn't stop it. So thank you very much for sabotaging this fantastic extension. I can't believe you did that. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Okay. Let's see here. Okay, this is the final test, and this time it's just going to work. Nice one, Morten. Hey, Morten, that's your Twitter handle too, right? Your YouTube username and your Twitter handle is the same. Okay, G. I hit G again. It stops. Yeah. Okay. That's it. We now have a good mischievous Christmas elf extension that you can turn on and off. But James, I still don't know, why would you turn it off? Like, what's the point of turning this off?
I mean, at some point, you don't want to disable it, I guess. You're just like, I want to disable it, but I don't want to uninstall it. I do. You know what I do want? I do want this prank extension, if it's turned off, to automatically turn on randomly between 0 and 100 opens of different files.
Yeah, you can do that.
That'd be so funny. There's all sorts of things you could do, right?
Yeah, so it could check. Actually, one way of doing that would be, where does it check here? Where is it? Here, it checks for if it should run or not. It could have a random, between 1 and 100, and if it equals 20, then it should just run. Then it doesn't even care about the settings.
That should probably pop up. Zach was asking, who's this other guy? That's me. I'm James. I'm behind the scenes producer. Random voice. No one, you don't like the random voice.
Oh, we should just use the synthetic speech API in Windows. It's in .NET. It's super easy to use. There's just a computer voice speaking.
You could have a switch for is enabled, but then you could have like random and like also surprise me mode, which is like it may be on and may be off. Like you could do a lot of things with this. Now that you have the infrastructure here, there's all sorts of imaginations that you could do.
You could create fake error list items, like ho ho ho, you smell. I don't know.
You could combine it with your noise. You could combine it with like every time it happens, like snow falls or like it shows up on the screen. You can combine all these extensions into a magical extension.
So James, maybe what we're witnessing here is the birth of a reoccurring holiday extension that's just every year is going to expand. And maybe going forward, we want to have like a dual episode. Like the holiday special is like part 1 and 2, so we really can like create some annoying features.
I like it.
Yep. Let me see here. I think, do we have any questions that we missed today?
I think we answered a lot of them as you went through.
I have another service announcement.
Oh my goodness.
We're doing the holiday break now for both this particular show, but also the Visual Studio office hours. And the Visual Studio office hours, we're going to come back on January 11th. That's a Monday. And the first episode is going to be about the future of Visual Studio Extensibility. Hooray! So we're actually going to get the program manager and the lead engineer in to talk about maybe what we already talked about a little earlier on this one, but they're going to be able to go into more detail. And also, time has passed. They know more than they did back a month ago or two when I talked to you guys about that. So I'm very excited. Very excited for that. We get to so if you have any questions for them, just tweet them at me or something. We want to make sure we have all the questions answered. And so
when's going to be someone was asking when's the next episode of this will be in 2021. Are we thinking?
Undecided. I don't know if I want to do it on January 8th. So that would be the first Friday after coming back, or it will be on the 15th. I don't know yet. Are you even here on the 8th, James?
I'm back on the 4th. You know me, I never stop. Just keep going.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Taking minimal days. I just got to keep crushing it every day.
Well, I'm back too, but am I back and ready to be live? That's the question, I think.
It's good. Well, the nice thing is that people can go to live.net, put that on the screen, and on the 4th or 5th or 6th, before the 8th, they will know if there's a new show.
I should probably schedule it now before any of us go on vacation.
If you want to. I'll be back on the 4th. We can always schedule it on the 4th.
Yeah. I think I should do it on the 8th. So the first Friday after the break.
You'll have weeks of amazing ideas in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we get that link up that says, here's how to make suggestions?
Right there. Boom.
Excellent. James is the Energizer Bunny.
This keeps going and going. Apparently.
2077. There's something about, what is that thing with 2077? I saw that like pop up in the past month or so. Is that a computer game or something?
I don't know.
Okay. Could you share the GitHub repo for this extension? Did you do that? You did that already.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just going back through here.
Oh, Cyberpunk. That's it. I think maybe we're talking about the video game.
Cyberpunk 27. Yeah. Okay.
27.
So what is Morten saying? He's actually said, let's just agree I did, and I absolutely knew what I was saying. I don't know. Does that mean he doesn't know what he was saying? Or does it? I'm confused by this. Because I know this guy. He's a very sarcastic human being. I don't know. Okay. Well, on that bombshell, let's end the year's first line of episodes here. Well, and the only line of this particular year. The first year comes to a conclusion right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all next year, including you, James. I hope you will be here as well.
I'll be here. Not going anywhere. I can never leave your side.
Excellent. The Energizer Bunny keeps going. All right. So everyone have a great holiday. I hope that you got some holiday. Spend some with friends and family, that sort of stuff, and see you on the other side. Adios.